And welcome to another episode of the Bandit Room. My name is Charles. Sitting next to me here is Caleb.
Hello.
Sitting across from the table from me is Miss Amber. And
Hello.
the special guest we have on the podcast today is Miss Kylie Carroll, who is the Executive Director of Miracle Park. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Now, for the listener who's never heard of Miracle Park, can you give a quick overview as to what Miracle Park is?
Sure. It is an inclusive recreation space. Our big draw right now is our inclusive playground. We currently have the largest inclusive playground in the Southeast. And an inclusive playground means that it is free from physical, social, and hopefully most emotional barriers as well. There are wide pathways and what we call parallel play elements for children with disabilities and those without. And then we also have a miracle field, which is a special laid surface baseball field for playing specifically for the Miracle League, which is a league for children and adults with disabilities.
Gotcha. All right, great. And how did you first get involved in this?
So I actually was trying to help my husband find a new job, and I saw an Instagram ad for Executive Director of Miracle Park, and I responded to the ad for him because I had a job, and I have 5 children, and I didn't want another job, but we see who's here. So it just kind of worked out that way, and I'm glad that it did. I love it.
Fantastic. Now, I just heard before we started the podcast that you knew Amber here
Yes.
as well
Yes.
already. Oh, we have a special guest joining? No, he's just coming
Just
in.
peeking in.
Just
a cameo.
So you actually know Amber already.
Yes.
What's the history there? Did you bail her out of jail or something?
You know me.
I think Amber maybe bailed me out a couple of times.
Years.
So we have run the Big Love Adoption Retreat, foster and adoption retreat for moms together for several years.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. And you kind of organized that, Amber, or who's?
Well, Kylie
Who's
started
more?
it previously, and then another organization kind of took it over, and so Kylie was taking a back seat. She needed a break.
Yes, because I started Miracle Park.
Yes. And so from there, I co-chaired on it 1 year, helping to organize it. And then the next year I was the chair of the event. And so I organized it that year. And then the next year, Kylie came back.
Gotcha. Fantastic. So you described the Miracle Park and the Miracle League. Can you give us a little bit more background on the Miracle League aspect of it? So the park is currently set up. People are going to the park on a regular basis. The field is also currently in production.
So we have one miracle field right now that is used for Miracle League. Before I talk about the league, I'll finish about the park because I realized I didn't finish. We also have another regular baseball field for softball, t-ball, baseball. That is a turf surface, not a regular or not a poured surface like the Miracle League. And then we have a concessions building, 2 restrooms buildings, and an office there with Miracle Park gear that you can get to support the development of the park. Gotcha. And we'll probably get to this later, but we still have more phases of development coming. But that's what's there right now. And Miracle League uses our Miracle Field. Miracle League has been around for years. The first one was in Conyers, Georgia, and now there are over 300 Miracle Leagues across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, I believe.
Wow.
So it's a big deal. It's a national, international thing. And it was set up so that children and adults with disabilities can play sports. And there's a rec league, which is what we do on Saturdays in fall and spring. And kids from age 5 to our oldest player, I believe, is 78. And we have a kid team and an adult team, and each player has a buddy. And we take buddies of all ages as well. We try to pair buddy up with an athlete that's near the same age, but that doesn't always work out. And sometimes it works better to have a kid with an adult because they think that's super fun. But anyway, those games are played on Saturdays. The Miracle League is run by the City of Rock Hills Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department. They actually do all of the maintenance and operations for the park and the programming for us. My role as executive director and our executive team, we are responsible for development and fundraising and donor stewardship.
Okay, fantastic. Now, you may have covered this a little bit, but as I understand it, Miracle Park, as it exists now, it was really the first of its kind in, what did you say, the nation? For having both a park and a field all together?
Yes. That's kind of what sets us apart. There are other inclusive playgrounds around the country. There are other Miracle Fields around the country. But in most places, those are separated. And so what set us apart was the fact that we would have multiple fields and a playground in the same location. I believe there's another place that has, well, actually now there are a couple places that have multiple fields. And inclusive playground development has really taken off in the last couple of years. It's really exciting to see them popping up all over everywhere, and at schools as well. Schools are starting to jump on board and see we don't just need these in our community, we need them in our schools, because we have students who can't access our playgrounds at school.
Right. Now, for somebody, the listener, who may not understand what an inclusive playground is, can you describe some of the equipment that would be used in something like that? So somebody in a wheelchair could swing on a swing set or something like that. Like what are some examples?
Yes. So one of the most popular elements we have is a merry-go-round that's set into the ground. So it's a surface level. It has a wide entrance so a wheelchair can roll right on. It also has a bench for children who need to sit, and then it has areas to stand and hold on. That's probably our most popular element at the park. But we also have like a swing that is a big flat swing so that people in wheelchairs or with low muscle tone and mobility can be transferred onto that and still be able to swing. And all of our elements do provide for transfer accessibility. But on our big playground, all of our big playground pieces have ramps to access everything. The wheelchairs can ride right up on there, and there's something called the rock and play. It looks kind of like a boat, and the wheelchair can ride on there, and then it swings and sways back and forth. Nice. We have a parallel play zip line, which means they're side by side, because the point of the park is inclusivity. It's not just a park for people with special needs. And that's something we always try to stress, because people with special needs often get segregated, and we don't want that to happen at the park. It is a park for everyone, and the point is to play together. So you'll see a typical zip line right beside an adaptive zip line so that they can play together. Same thing with monkey bars. We've got typical monkey bars right beside lower monkey bars that can be accessed from a wheelchair so that they can still simulate the idea of pulling across and traversing across the monkey bars. Nice. And then there are several elements like that in the park, but inclusive just means that there's something for everybody. It may not be that everybody can do everything, but in the same area there are things for everyone. And two of the big pieces that we actually had a showcase at the park a couple of weeks ago are our Yelp interactive pieces. And these are pieces that when we first started planning the park, we were going to be the first in the world to have them, but then we had delays with COVID. So we ended up not being the first, but still the first in our area. Gotcha. And they are pieces that when you walk onto them and under them, they give you directions for play. And that's especially important for kids with social awkwardness, kids who may be on the spectrum and they want to play, but they don't know how. So this piece takes the awkwardness out. It tells them what to do. It brings kids together, and then they just do what the instruments say.
Nice. And it's a beautiful looking park as well. To we haven't really touched on that, but when it started coming together, I was struck by like the mosaic wall and things like that. I mean, you feel like you're in a little park in Barcelona or something when you see something like that. So can you tell us a little bit more about some of the aesthetic features that are going on?
With one of the things that we set out to do when we built the park was achieve something called universal design. And universal design is an extra certification beyond ADA requirements that looks at more than just physical. it looks at those social and emotional barriers as well. And so a lot of the aesthetics actually came from that, and they come from brain research. Like, you'll see lots of blue and yellow. The reason for that is yellow is the first color recognized by the brain, and blue is a calming color. And so even though there's lots of activity and lots of excitement, we want it to be a place that also provides calm for kids that get overstimulated. That's why you'll see no red in the park, because red is a stimulating color. There is some orange, but that's closer to yellow. So a lot of brain research, a lot of just really thoughtful intent to remove whatever barriers we can.
Nice.
For example, we have an adult changing station that is really hard to find at most parks or establishments. But you think about, I personally have 5 kids, but think about going to a park with all your kids and you have a larger child, maybe they're 16, they're in a wheelchair. You know, when I had kids who were 2 and needed to have a diaper change at a public park and there wasn't a bathroom, I could do it in my van, you know,
right.
But you can't do that with a 16-year-old. So that was something that we really were passionate about including, and we hope to have another one in another phase of development in the park.
Well, so let's talk about the phases then. So you said we're currently, are you completed with phase 1?
Phase 1 is complete.
Phase 1 is ready. So tell us about the next couple phases.
So phase 2, we are hoping to launch soon. We will be revealing detailed plans for phase 2 at the Ruby Slippers Gala, which is going to be on September 9th. So I'm not allowed to say a whole lot because that's part of coming to the event you get to see the plans.
Sure.
People do know, and it's on our website, our site plan for the park. Phase 2 will include more of what you already see, another miracle field. We hope to have a golf element. And then in the future, we are looking at some multi-purpose fields to play sports that are not oriented to a baseball field. So like flag football, soccer, volleyball, those kinds of things. But really, all of these plans that we had, we're just holding really loosely to see, because the community involvement and the response has just been awesome. So we're just looking to see, you know, what do people want there? What do they want to do? Who wants to come alongside us and partner with us? We have a retention pond that is very large because of the site. And early in our talks with people, there was interest from people to turn that into a therapeutic fishing pond. And that was never in our original plans. We just had to have a retention pond. So we have some things in mind, but we're also just eager to see what does the community want and who wants to help us build these things, because obviously it takes a lot of money. So we are actively seeking partnerships to continue development in phase 2 and 3. And then our big goal, so you'll see more adaptive sports elements in phases 2 and 3. And then we have a big goal with phase 3 to also have an area for employment for people with disabilities. You know, and again, there the options are wide open. There are people in our community who are already doing that and doing it well. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. But the unemployment statistics for people with intellectual disabilities specifically are very dismal, specifically after COVID, and they haven't really risen. So our goal is to do something about that and to have a place where people can come and get the training they need and build their resume, get that first opportunity to then show, I can do this, and then get out there into the community.
If you're a trucker and you own a truck that weighs 55,000 pounds or more, we're here to let you know that it's time to file your Form 2290 again. Thankfully, Express Truck Tax is here to make e-filing easy with a free VIN checker, a scan for common errors, and 100% US-based customer support. So go to expresstrucktax.com now to file your 2022-23 Form 2290.
Wonderful. Now, we had Warren Norman come on recently on an earlier episode, and I know he's been a key player in getting this whole thing started. One of the things he remarked on was how well I don't know, I don't say this the wrong way, but how well the fundraising had been going for this. Like how he was shocked at how many people were ready to step in and really be instrumental in getting the whole thing going. Now, if somebody else wanted to get involved, you referenced the Ruby Slippers Gala. That's coming up, you said September 9th.
Correct.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's correct. Yes. So we have over 600 private donors at this point. A unique thing about this park is it is a private-public partnership. So it's a public park, open to the park 99% of the year. As the York County Disabilities Foundation, our job is to, like I said, develop and fundraise for the park. So we are in charge of getting all the donations. And due to that, we do have a couple of times a year where we close it to the public for private events. Most of those are fundraising events. But we still have a lot of money to raise, but the community has been awesome. We've had a ton of donors. You can go out to the park and see our current donor walls where donors are recognized from the initial development phase from $500 up, and then going forward, recognition starts at $1,000 and up. But you'll go out there and just be amazed by the number of names on the wall. They're also on our website, miracleparkrockhhill.com. And you can go on our website to find out how to donate. There are specifically an opportunity right now is the Ruby Slippers Gala, which is going to be held at the historic White Home on September 9th. And individual tickets for that just went on sale yesterday. And we still have a few remaining. We still have some sponsorships available as well. Sponsorships will get you a sit-down table, and some of the higher level sponsorships will also get your name etched into the park on those donor walls. So we still have a good bit of fundraising to do, especially since supplies have increased in cost dramatically over the last 2 years. We're looking at about $2.5 million for phase 2, which is about double of what we thought a year ago at this time. So we are still very much actively seeking donors.
If somebody would wanted to get involved, what would you say would be the biggest needs that you have for, say, whether it's volunteering or is it primarily donations? What would be the primary way that somebody could be involved? What's the biggest needs that you have as you move forward?
So we have lots of opportunities for people to be involved. Probably the most helpful thing right now are what we call third-party fundraisers. I'm the only employee of the development side of the park. And so the fundraising relies largely on grants and big donations, but we've had some fantastic third-party fundraisers where somebody just decided, I want to do something, and it can be anything. We had a 12-year-old decide to bake cookies, and she raised over $1,000 by herself.
Wow.
And then we've had bigger events like the Ruby Slippers. It is a third-party fundraiser, and last time we did Ruby Slippers, we raised about $38,000. So if you are good at putting on parties or selling things, like that's what we really need. And third party means it's your idea, you run it, but we help promote it. We give you our logo, we can give you stickers, we can promote it on our social media and website, but it's largely run by you. And like I said, we've had some really successful ones there, and every dollar helps. All those $5 and $10 donations for sure add up, and we wouldn't be where we are now without those, just like the big ones. And then we also can use volunteers. We have a merchandise table at all of our games on Saturdays in the fall and spring, and then throughout other events that pop up. We'll train you how to set it up. We'll train you how to talk about the park. Sometimes there are events in the community where it's just an informational event and we show up and we hand out flyers. We always need volunteers for those types of things. If you sign up on our website for our newsletter, we send out a sign up genius periodically to fill in those dates. Our Fall Miracle League will start in September, and every Saturday we'll have need for volunteers, both for Miracle Park, the fundraising information side, and for Miracle League. Miracle League, you can sign up to be a buddy or a coach, or just be in the stands and cheer people on. It really is one of the best ways you can spend a Saturday morning.
I know that Reagan and Elaine love Miracle Park.
Well, tell us about that. What do they do? What are their favorite things?
All of it. The merry-go-round that you were talking about.
Yeah.
They think it's super cool that they can just walk straight on it, and it's not above the ground.
So it's not one of those that'll
Yeah.
throw you into the woods like the ones that I
Right.
grew up with.
Yes, correct.
And these are your kids, by the way.
Yes, yes, yes. But
friends
and
of
we go to all the parks around Rock Hill. But that is a favorite of ours now, and so I do love that it is inclusive. I just think that's a wonderful thing to be able to have typical and kids who need a little bit extra help in whatever way play together. And so we love it. So we appreciate all the work that you've done on it for sure.
Thank you.
Kylie, you have any other hobbies or interests that you share other than working on Miracle Park and having 5 children?
Yeah, we need to know Kylie
Those are
the
like
person.
2 full
not
jobs.
just-
Yes. So I have 5 children. One of them is going off to college on Saturday.
Wow.
And so that's kind of a big deal in our world right now. I know.
Wow.
Amber.
Yeah. So that's a big change in our family. I homeschool 3 of my 5 kids. So that keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah.
I was a teacher for 19 years before my youngest son came home from Ethiopia, and he has Down syndrome. So after or during COVID, we recognized that distance learning was not for him and one of my other children, and so I started homeschooling them, and it was such a change for them. And I obviously love teaching because I taught for a long time, that it just fit our family. So I have 2 kids one kid in public school now, one going off to college. And then my oldest son also decided, hey, I want to do the homeschool thing too. So he came home last year. And beyond that, I really love to read, and we camp a lot and like to hike. We went out west this summer, drove all the way out to California and visited, I think, 8 national parks and monuments.
Wow.
Nice.
And
You drive a
yeah, we
bus with
stayed-
5 kids? How did you
I do. I have a big van.
Is it like
I do, yes.
Wow. So how long was that trip? If you're driving from here to California, visiting all the national parks?
It was 20 days.
20 days.
Yes.
Wow, that's a
It was
commitment. Wow.
awesome.
So what were some of the sites? What were some of the key sites?
We went to Sequoia National Forest, which seeing those trees in person, it's so hard to describe. My kids
Yeah.
laughed at me because I cried. But it's just so powerful. And then we went to Kings Canyon and we did some cavern exploring, which was probably one of their favorite things. We went to Yosemite, and even my little guy did a almost 9-mile hike
Wow.
up the Vernal Mist Trail.
How little? How young are we talking?
He's
about?
10.
10, okay. Perfect.
So that was really probably a highlight because we were right beside the waterfall and went all the way up and around the mountain, Grand Canyon and
Nice.
Death Valley. And we went to Georgia O'Keeffe's ranch, to the
very
Ghost
cool.
Ranch.
Very cool.
Nice.
My daughter's an artist,
Yeah.
so that was important to her. And we got to do a horseback tour and see her home
Oh, cool.
on the Ghost Ranch, and went to a couple museums, went to Sedona. We did some cavern jumping
Wow.
in Arizona. It was definitely a trip of a lifetime. We went with our whole family, my kids, my husband, his parents, his sister and her kids, and his brother and their kids.
Oh, so this is a full caravan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's
Wow,
cool.
I'm about to go to Disney World. We'll be right. It's a
You
small
feel like
world.
you've got it easy now.
This was Jaden's big
Wow.
send-off. She
Oh,
graduated
good.
in
Okay,
May and is
okay.
going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
college.
Nice.
So this was her big trip.
Wow, it's one she'll remember forever.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
I'll get those plans from you later.
Yes. Yes. But the cool thing is, like I was still able to work while I was traveling because I do a
Yeah.
ton of work for the park from my computer. So driving out and driving back those long days, I was still able to do, because I do love my job. I am passionate about inclusion and accessibility. It started out as a career. I've always been around and friends with people with disabilities. Didn't think that would be my career, but then it was. And I feel like the Lord placed advocacy on my heart at a really early age. And then when we adopted Caduce and he has Down syndrome, it became really apparent that a lot of people have an inclusive heart and want to include but don't know how. And that there are a lot of places that have good intent but don't know how and don't realize the elements that are exclusive. So it's really fun and rewarding to have a job where I get to look for how else can we include, how else can we educate, and make sure that our tagline is there's a place for everyone to belong.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for that. It's a great story, wonderful information, and encourage everybody to check out the information there for Miracle Park.
Bandit Room is a production of Span Enterprises, located in sunny Rock Hill, South Carolina. We've been developing, supporting, and growing successful IRS e-filing and business management solutions since 2010. Go to spanenterprises.com now to learn more. The views and opinions expressed in the Bandit Room are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect or state the opinions of Span Enterprises. No information should be considered as tax, legal, or other professional advice.